Day of ETHDenver. We are here with the Bidler stage, and I will be the MC for today. And the first speaker we have today is Austin Jeter from Head of Ecosystems and Growth. Please come to the stage and give a little bit about yourself.
Thank you so much for the intro, Chris. Appreciate it. As Chris said, my name is Austin. I'm the head of ecosystem growth here at U2U, and I'm super excited to share how we're tackling some challenges in the DePIN space. Just as a quick overview about U2U, our vision and mission is to revolutionize how we interact with physical resources to create a future powered by a seamlessly interconnected and infinitely scalable peer-to-peer network. And ultimately, we want to create cutting-edge infrastructure solutions that unlock the potential of DePIN applications, driving the future of decentralized resource sharing. So about DePIN, if you look at DePIN from a 10-year growth horizon, we're still in the very early innings. It is expected to grow anywhere from 100 to 1,000 times over the next decade. Right now, we see a market size of around $1 billion in a wide array of sub-verticals, and these include wireless, energy, compute, and more. And when you think about DePIN as well, revenues have actually 100x'd from 2022 to 2024. So this is definitely a great space to be in when we think about utility. So DePIN has a bevy of challenges, one being the tech stack. Because of the hardware element, DePIN projects take a little longer to build into code. The launch velocity of DePIN projects, generally on the quicker end, can take anywhere from like a year to 15 months. Additionally, as any Web3 project struggles with, they're looking to drive consumers and customers to their individual project, and so demand is very hard to come by. Additionally, there's issues with liquidity, and one of the challenges that we're going to jump into next is actually the sharing of resources on the network. So the first challenge that we're going to tackle today is actually the fragmentation of the DePIN market, which limits hardware efficiency, reduces user returns, and that's due to a lack of a system for effective resource sharing. And so with that in mind, the current user flow for DePIN projects is users need to install and actually operate different client apps, which leads to a complicated management of all the DePINs that you're contributing your resources to. And thus, that makes user adoption very challenging, which could potentially stall industry growth. So our approach to this is, just as a quick background, U2U is a L1, and so with that, we're able to provide consensus and security layers. And on top of that, we're building a DePIN client hub, which will enable you to contribute resources to a bevy of projects in a centralized, all-in-one user interface. And so with that, we vertically integrated a solution to enable users to share their compute that not only benefits the resource shares, but also the protocols that onboard with us as well. Additionally, we have a subnet on our L1 that is specifically designed for the DePIN space. With that in mind, you can see that all roads lead back to the subnet when it comes to consumers, app builders, our community, as well as our infrastructure and protocol builders as well. We're able to support these stakeholders in a wide variety of ways. By the community sharing their resources, builders are able to deploy easier, and consumers are ultimately able to benefit by receiving incentives for their hard work. So just as a quick overview of our architecture, you can see that applications are able to build developers are able to build multiple different kinds of applications on our chain. We're not only exclusive to DePIN, even though that's our primary focus, but builders can build other Web3 dApps as well in Web2. Additionally, as mentioned earlier with our client hub, these builders can leverage our resource marketplace where they can buy, compute, GPU, a range of other services like internet bandwidth as well. And all that is enabled by the DePIN subnet as well as the foundation, which is our L1. So thus far, we have a few projects within our ecosystem, specifically DePIN. The most notable couple are U2U, which is a management companion for DePIN node infrastructure. Just to highlight a couple stats, we have 87,000 contributor nodes, 77 million total sessions, which have led to over 90,000 gigabytes of total bandwidth that's been distributed really just from users accessing this app from their phone. Additionally, we have Ermis, which is also a leading DePIN infrastructure for real-time chat and streaming. You'll see this being very useful in more of your SocialFi applications, as well as your GameFi applications as well. And so with Ermis, we've actually been able to reduce cost by 26 times compared to competitors. And also the latency is 5 times faster than the competitors as well. And additionally, upcoming, we have our Zenith EPN, which is secure private internet that's also very fast. That's also going to be built on top of the U2 DPN as well. Now, this isn't all. We want to support DePIN projects in a wide variety of ways. As mentioned earlier, we're hoping that we can help them accelerate their time to market, enable them to drive rapid value capture, and provide them with marketing support. Something major to highlight is actually we're the founders of the DePIN Alliance, which we've built or created with our investors JDI as well as Chain Capital, and thus far this community has over 1 million users to support DePIN. Initially, the first part of this collaboration was to lead to a experience on Telegram, which has led to 270,000 DePIN Alliance app users. And from the B2B perspective, we're hoping that projects within the DePIN Alliance are able to forge partnerships to help and drive scale their projects as well. Let's see, that looks like the same. Cool. So outside of that as well, DePIN projects, they need a lot of support in a bevy of areas. We've kind of touched on a couple of them already, but one that we haven't touched on is capital. We want to be able to support them in infrastructure, hardware, platform, and driving consumers to them as well. Additionally, we really just want to be a partner that is with these DePIN projects from start to finish. And so you see some of the comprehensive support areas below that we contribute to DePIN projects. Thus far, even though U2U is still pretty new, we have a DePIN community and around 37 projects that have onboarded with us thus far. We mentioned U2 DPN as well already, but the areas of DePIN in which we add value and builders are onboarding onto our chain expand beyond the DPN space. We see Lingo AI on the AI side. We have Ermis on telecommunication, as mentioned earlier, mobility, et cetera. So again, we really want to be that all-in-one partner to these DePIN projects. Furthermore, here's a look at some of our traction thus far. We have 1 million users across the network, 900K monthly active users, and over 2 million total transactions. We have a ton of social media traction as well, KOLs that can support projects within the protocol, and media partners as well to provide support and project our ecosystem. Additionally, we have a bunch of partners that we're working with as well. One I want to highlight is Masari. They've actually done a report on us, so you can check that out on their website. But we also are very focused on either sponsoring or hosting events for developers. We've actually are very proud to have a $25,000 bounty for this week's Build Week at ETHDenver in the areas of RWA, DePIN, SocialFi, as well as NFTs. And so we're excited to continue that traction and supporting developers and hopefully onboarding some really great founders. Furthermore, touching on the capital point, we are able to provide capital via grants, but also we have VCs within our network who we can, make intros or who can also support these early stage companies in their investment journey. As mentioned earlier, we do hackathons and we try to again put our ecosystem in the best position to be successful. This is a fun slide because we actually have a phone that's coming out as well called the U phone. And so ultimately the goal there is again to help reduce that fragmentation of resources. We're spearheading this with JDI Ventures, who's also an investor in Helium, Demo, Geodet, and some others. So some other top DePIN projects, and they're very focused on manufacturing hardware. Also, we have quite a swell team, good team from early stage contributors to ETH, multiple time founders as well. That's working in one direction on DePIN as well. And to conclude the presentation, please feel free to find us at booth 507 at ETHDenver. If there's any questions about grants and that kind of thing, I'm happy to be as supportive as possible. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Austin. I just have a couple questions. Thank you so much for your talk today. If I wanted to build on your stuff, what would be, if I had friends to work on your stuff, who would your target audience be for your application?
Yeah, so we're in the process of onboarding some really great builders onto our chain, as you mentioned. As far as what type of projects might we be most interested in, it really varies. Like, we're very focused on AI, we're focused on IoT, all that other it's very flexible on that end. We're also looking forward to really driving some real-world utility as well and enabling businesses to share their resources as well.
Okay, amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much as well. Happy to be here.